Hi there, friends. The OG here. Listen, I've had so many requests in the past few months about more information on buying and selling with owner financing. My staff finally talked me into doing an event to cover all of that, both buying and selling with owner financing. So I've agreed to do it. And the best part about it is it's absolutely free to you. So I'm going to go over the content of what I'm going to cover, some of it. I can't go through all of it. I got some cheat sheet notes here. So I got so much packed into this thing, I couldn't possibly remember it all. So I'll tell you what it's all about. And then when this video is over, if you're brand new to owner financing, you don't really understand it or what it means and all of that, there's another video right after it that's 10 minutes long that explains it, mostly for beginners. And you'll get an idea of what we're talking about when we say terms as well, because the terms business is nothing more than buying it on terms and selling it on terms. And that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about, except in this case, the terms are buying it with owner financing and selling it with owner financing. So we're going to cover a lot of stuff. And one of those is how to get very low payments when you're buying. Let's talk about buying first, and then how to get payments with no interest. When I run across houses that are free and clear, I quite often get payments with low payments because it's just a negotiate thing between you and the seller. And using my scripts, we can get those payments way down, and many times with no interest, especially on the lower priced houses. And I'm telling you right now that a loan doesn't pay off any faster than one without interest. It pays down very, very quickly. How to eliminate banks, both getting in and getting out. We don't use banks in the world of buying and selling with owner financing. We don't need them. And nobody's ever going to apply for a loan except your buyers will apply for a loan to you and you become the committee. I'll teach you how to get huge discounts. I've never bought a house with owner financing and then sold that house and had somebody cash out of it without going back and getting a discount on that owner financing. Sometimes I make as much money on the back end as I do on the front end by just discounting that existing note. You're gonna learn how to do that. You're gonna love that because frankly, most people don't even know that you can do that. You're gonna there will be no personal liability on any note or mortgage or deed of trust or that we create back to the seller when we're buying. I'm going to make sure you understand how to make sure that you never become personally liable. Nothing will ever show in your credit report, and these loans will not even show on your financial statement. They're called non-recourse loans. Um, how to keep all the money when you get paid off. So normally, when you put a buyer in a house and they go refinance it, and they pay you off, of course, you got to pay the seller off out of that all of that money, and then you get what's left. Well, I'll show you how to keep all of it. I said all of it when that happens. How to use the seller's property to raise the money to buy and fix the seller's property. The technique is called subordination. You get the seller to take back a second. We go borrow a little first from a private lender, pay the down payment, and fix it, and then sell it, and usually cash out of it. That's a technique that'll become very important to you, especially on properties that need a lot of work, especially on the ones that are free and clear are very close to it. I've done a lot of those. I'm going to talk about why I don't recommend buying on Subject 2. I know Subject 2 is a national phenomenon and everybody's talking about it. I don't like it, and I'll make sure you understand why I don't like it. We'll talk about why sellers owner finance. There's a lot of attitude out there today that we're in a hot market. Why would anybody owner finance? Well, I'll show you why they owner finance. Because they owner finance every time we do an event, we buy properties on terms, and that means they're owner financing it. Now, owner financing doesn't necessarily mean that they're taking back a note and the house is free and clear. Most of the deals that we owner finance have a mortgage on them about 75% of the time. And so if we owe the seller any money above that, then they wait on that till we cash out, and we don't pay them any interest on that difference between what they owe and what we owe them along the way. It's all about how you set up the deal. And you won't have any property management issues when you sell with owner financing. They own the property, they're responsible for everything, and all you do is collect money, make out an underlying payment, and I'll show you how to get that out of your life so you don't even have to do that. You don't even have to touch the money. It's automatically dropped into your bank account. We're going to talk about wraparound mortgages. A lot of confusion on that. What is a wrap? When do you use a wrap? Why do you use a wrap? And in what situations is a wrap In fact, wraps are very important because most of the houses that I buy, well, all of them that I buy that have an underlying loan on them, I buy with a wraparound mortgage or a wraparound deed of trust or a land contract device. All of those do the same thing, which, by the way, you will never touch any of those documents. The attorneys do all of that. So you don't have to worry about, well, I don't understand these documents. You don't have to understand them. That's not your job. That's what pay attorneys to do. And it's a very small amount of money. Target properties. Which property should you target? And which ones are time wasters? It's good that you know the difference very quickly. You're going to get the scripts to make the seller say yes. A certain percentage of them, they'll all be in a manual. In fact, when you register before the event, we're going to send you the entire manual. You can literally download it and print it out or whatever you want to do with it. And by the way, I did this event way back. This event cost $2,995 the first few times that I did it. I just want you to know that this one's not going to cost you anything. You're welcome. Um, five ways to structure seller financing, how to build a big old huge monthly cash flow without owning the properties. So when I buy with owner financing and sell with owner financing, I don't own the real estate. I just own the cash flow. They owe me money. I've created debt to me. I'm using the bank's money to make money. So I'm leveraging the seller's money or the bank's money to make money, just like the banks do with us. Take our money and lend it out and they get the spread. Well, there's an awful lot of money in that spread. And plus there's great big old down payments up front. And when you can sell with owner financing, you're going to get great big old down payments because you're selling to 70% of the people who would like to buy a house that can't qualify at the bank. And I'll show you how to come up with down payments to buy properties without having to dig deep in your pocket. There's all kinds of ways you can satisfy down payments when sellers insist on them. And I got a whole list of them. I got a lot of money making clauses that I wrote over the years, clauses you'll never find anywhere else on earth, because some of them I literally wrote. There aren't very many people alive that truly understand this owner financing business. I just happen to be one of them because I was around in the 80s where this is about the only way you could buy houses when the prime rate was 16% interest. And I learned a lot. And everybody that I've learned from is long since gone. So, hey, better get it out of this aging brain while you still can. Um, and also, how are you taxed? I'm going to show you how to never pay taxes when you sell a property, even if you sell it on installments. There's several different ways to do that. But I also want to show you how installment sales are taxed so that you understand um, why and how much of that payment is taxed and why it's spread. Your tax issues are spread out over the years, even if you don't do it tax free, like I will teach you how to do. Also, going to talk about using land trust. All of my students use land trust. I want you to use land trust. I don't care what state you're in. When you buy a property, you should buy it in a land trust, and there's multiple reasons why. And now all of that's just buying. Okay. Now we got to get to selling with owner financing. I'm going to teach you the advantages and the disadvantages of owner financing and when you shouldn't use it and when you shouldn't use owner financing and where you shouldn't use it. And also owner financing versus lease options. You may know that my exit strategy is usually a lease option tenant buyer here in Florida for various reasons that we will discuss. Let's say I'm in Texas. I'm in Texas. I don't have a choice. I got to sell it with owner financing. And now the states I do have a choice. Okay. I got to figure out how to make that decision on which one I want to do. You're going to learn how to qualify your buyers. And qualifying doesn't mean they have to have good credit. They probably won't, but there are other things that I want you to look at when you're picking your buyer, not just how much money they got. How to get the biggest down payments on these properties, how to get a lot of stuff for free while you're selling these properties. Do I put a balloon in them or do I not put a balloon in them? That's another question. And I'm going to cover work for equity. It means the seller does the work. The buyer does their work with their money and their labor, and you don't have to touch the house. You sell it as is, sell it with owner financing as is. And I promise you, you'll make more money doing it that way than you will rehabbing it and selling it to a cash buyer. What you got to get I got some clauses that I want. When you sell a house with owner financing, you're going to take back a note and a mortgage, or a note and a deed of trust, or maybe even some land contract device. Okay. There are provisions that need to be in all of these documents to protect you that I've learned the hard way over the years. It cost me a whole bunch of money to learn. All right. So the OG is going to pass them on to you in this class, and they're in the manual. So items that you must have in your file when you're selling. You're going to get a checklist of what goes in your file when you're buying and when you're selling. In fact, you're going to get several different checklists. You're going to get forms and agreements that come within the manual and things you won't get anywhere else. And again, how to collect payments hands off and let the buyer pay for the cost of collecting those payments and dropping the difference into your account and making your underlying payment and giving you an end of the year statement as well. When to insure. When do you insure? When does the buyer insure? And how to make sure that that insurance does not lapse automatically without you having to check on it. In other words, just set the system up and let it run. Um, what can go wrong and how to prevent it? In other words, we're thinking ahead. What can go wrong? What can I do now to fix it? Instead of waiting until it goes wrong and then figuring out what to do. What if your buyer files bankruptcy after you sell it to them with owner financing? You know, the world does not end. And so I'll cover that for you as well, and also cover what traps to avoid to keep you out of trouble. In other words, stupid mistakes that I made over a long period of time. No sense of you making the same mistakes that I've already made. And then again, how to do all this tax free. So look, that's a pretty good start on what we're going to cover in this 2-day event. And what was the cost again? Not a Zippo. Now you might be asking, Ron, why are you doing this for free? Okay. Number one, consider it a belated Christmas present. Or number two, if you want to be honest, it's free to get in, ain't going to be free to get out because I'll be selling something. Oh my, now you know. I'll be talking to you about my 4-day quick start school to launch your career and maybe mentoring as well. Of course, that's the option for you. You don't have to buy anything to attend this event, trust me. But I just want you to know that I'm only doing it for free because I want you to have the information because you won't get it anywhere else. There's nobody else to teach this stuff to you. You better get it while you can. But I am going to do my best to get you into my 4-day training that I still do every single month, 1 month virtual, 1 month live. And then you can make the decision on what's best for you. Is that fair? Huh? All right. So now we're clear. All right. The dates are January the 20th and the 21st. You got to register to get in. I'm only going to do this once. Okay. I'm only going to do one. If you miss this one, and no, you're not going to be able to get the video version of it. So if you want to watch it, you're going to need to get in there and register and give me, and I won't run you late into the evening. We will quit probably around the 5 o'clock mark both days. We're going to start at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're on the West Coast, you got to get up a little early, so it won't hurt you. You get off early, you take a nap when you're done. But you got to go down there and get registered right now. And if you do, we'll send you all the information you need, and we'll also get you the actual manual before we get started, well before we get started. All right. So again, there's a video after this one that you might want to watch, especially if you're a beginner, and makes you clearly understand what seller financing is all about. I go through a couple of examples on it. So with that said, I hope to see you on January the 20th. Be there. I'll see you there.